Good morning, class 12 students. So, this is your subject physics, chapter number 9, that is ray optics. And in this lecture, I'll be discussing the assignment solution that was given to you in the last lecture. So, let us begin with the first question of your assignment. So, the question says a ray of light incident on an equilateral glass prism of refractive index root 3 moves parallel to the base. Find the angle of incidence for this ray. So as you know, if a ray is going parallel to the base, that means this is the case of angle of minimum deviation. This I have told you in theory lectures also. Okay. So because the prism is given to be a equilateral prism, that means the angle of prism would be 60 degrees and refractive index is given to be root 3. So if you use the prism formula, that is mu is equals to sine A plus del m by 2 upon sine A by 2. From your theory lectures again, you know this is nothing but angle of incidence. So let us put it equal to I. So you will get mu is equals to sine I upon sine A by 2. From here, if you calculate sine I, that will come to be root 3 sine sine 30, because A is 60, so 60 by 2, that will be 30. So sine 30 is 1 by 2. So from here you will get sine I to be root 3 by 2, or you can write it as sine 60. That means angle of incidence is 60 degrees in this particular case. In the second question, you are given an object AB which is placed beyond C. So as you know, if the object is placed beyond C, the image is formed between C and F, and that is a diminished image. So I have taken three rays here, one going parallel to principal axis, one passing through the pole of mirror, and second passing through the center of curvature of the mirror. So all of them are meeting at this point. So here your image will be formed. So this is the A part, that is ray diagram. B part says how will the position and intensity of the image will be affected if the lower half of the mirror is painted black. That means if this part of the mirror is painted black. See, if this is painted black, since then also these two rays will be there, right? So therefore we will be getting the image due to the intersection of these two rays. So therefore you can say the position of image will remain unchanged, but because there will be now less reflected rays, because this area is covered with a paper, or you can say this area is painted black, so therefore the intensity of the image will reduce, because now less reflected rays will be meeting at a point, so intensity will be reduced, but the position of the image will remain same. Next is question number third. It says you are given a prism and you have to trace the path of this ray which is passing like this. Okay, so now as you can see, and it is given in the question as well, that this ray is falling normally on the face AC. So because this is a case of normal incidence, so this ray will pass undeviated through the prism. So this ray will go like this only. Now when it will come here, this will be the normal to the face AB. So because the ray is going from denser to rarer medium, so it will bend away from normal. So it will be bending like this. I am taking this to be angle of incidence for the face AB, and this is the angle of emergence for the face AB. So now angle ACB is given to you to be 60 degrees. Okay, so now if you look in this triangle, if this is 60 degree, this will also be 60 degree, right? This is 90 degrees. So that means 90 plus 60 plus I will be 180 degree. Or you can say angle of incidence is nothing but 30 degree for the face AB. Now refractive index is already given to you in the question, that is root 3. So the question says find out the angle of emergence from the prism. So that means you have to calculate angle E. So now if you use Snell's law at the face AB, that will be sine I by sine E is equals to 1 by mu. Now you know the value of I, that is 30 degrees. So sine 30 is 1 by 2. Sine E is kept as it is. 1 by mu means 1 by root 3. So solve it. You will get the value of angle of emergence to be 60 degrees. Okay, so the next is question number 4. It says a beam of light converges at a point P. A concave lens of focal length 16 cm is placed in the path of this beam 12 cm from P. calculate the location of the point at which the beam would now converge. Okay, so let us suppose initially these rays were meeting at a point P, that is, they were converging at a point P. Now, according to the question, a concave lens is placed in the path of these beams at a point 12 centimeter from this point P. Okay, so now as you know, a concave lens is a diverging lens, so it will diverge the rays and therefore they will be meeting some farther point. Let us suppose that is Q. Okay, so you have to calculate this distance, that is the distance from the optical center of the your lens and Q, that is at how much distance it would be deviating. Okay, so now as focal length of the lens is given to be 16 centimeters, so because this is a concave lens, so we will be using minus 16 centimeters. So now see, for these initial rays the image was at P, right? Or you can say they were meeting at P. So this will act as a virtual object for this lens. So you can say this is the distance U. So U is 12 centimeters. So by using lens formula, that is 1 upon F is equals to 1 upon V minus 1 upon U. You can calculate V. So V will come to be 48 centimeters. That means this distance is 48 centimeters, or you can say the image will be now formed at Q. Okay, so next is question number 5. So the question says the radii of curvature of the two faces of a double convex lens are 15 centimeter and 10 centimeter. So as you know, for a convex lens, R1 is positive and R2 is negative. So R1 is 10 centimeter and R2 is minus 15 centimeter. After that, the question says if the focal length of the lens is 12 centimeter, that is this, you have to calculate the refractive index of the material of lens. So this is a very easy question, just a formula based question. Use lens maker's formula, that is 1 upon F is equals to mu minus 1 into 1 upon R1 minus 1 upon R2. Put all the values, you will get the value of refractive index of the prism to be 3 by 2. Okay, so the next is sixth question. So the question says a biconvex lens has a focal length of 2 by 3 times the radius of curvature of either surface, that is F is equals to 2 by 3 of R, where R is the radius of curvature of either surface. So you have to calculate again in this question the refractive index of the lens of the refractive index of the medium of the lens. So again, if you use the lens maker's formula, F is nothing but 2R by 3, putting it here, taking R1 as R and R2 as minus R, this equation will become 2 by R. So just again solve it, you will get the value of mu to be 7 by 4. Okay, so in question number 7, you are given that the radius of curvature, you have to find the radius of curvature of the convex surface of a plano-convex lens whose focal length is 0.3 meters and refractive index is 1.5. Okay, so focal length and refractive index is given to you. Now this is nothing but a plano-convex lens because its one side is plane. So as you know, the refractive index, the radius of curvature for a plane surface is infinity. So therefore in this case R1 will be infinity and R2, that is your radius of curvature of this convex surface, will be minus R. So taking R1 to be infinity, R2 to be minus R, again use lens maker's formula. Everything is given to you in question. R will come to be 0.15 meters. Okay, so in question number 8, you are given a ray of light passing through an equilateral triangular glass from air undergoes minimum deviation whose angle of incidence is 3/4 of the angle of prism. Calculate the speed of light in the prism. Okay, so angle of incidence is given as 3/4 of angle of prism, and at the same time the prism is given to be equilateral. That means your angle of prism is 60 degrees. So from here, if you calculate I using this equation, I will come to be 45 degrees. Now you know I, you know A. So let us use prism formula, which is sin I by sin A by 2, where I is nothing but A plus del M by 2. Okay, so mu is sin I upon sin A by 2. You know I, you know A. From here, mu will come to be root 2. Now, from the definition of refractive index, that is defined as the refractive index, as the speed of light in air upon speed of light in medium. So let us put the value of mu here. So that will give you root 2 is equals to c by v, or you can say from here v will come to be c by root 2. That is, the speed of light in the material of prism will become 1 by root 2 times of the speed of light in air. Okay, so next is question number 9. It says calculate the distance of an object of height h from a concave mirror of focal length 10 centimeters so as to obtain a real magnification of 2. So to get a magnification of 2 and to get a real image, as you know, to get a real image, magnification is negative. So that means your magnification should be -2. We have to calculate the distance of the object. Height of object is given to be h and focal length of the concave mirror is -10 centimeters. Okay. So first of all, using the formula of magnification, that is m is, as you know, in case of mirrors, it is minus v by u. So that means minus v by u is given to be -2. So minus v by u is equals to -2. So from here, if you calculate v in terms of u, that will come to be 2u. Okay. So now you know v in terms of u, you know focal length. Now again using mirror formula, that is 1 upon f is equals to 1 upon v plus 1 upon u. F is -10, v is 2u from here, and we are keeping u as it is. Okay. So when you will solve it, you will get 2u is equals to -30, or u will come to be -15 centimeters. So this is the distance of the object for which you will get a real image with a magnification of 2. Okay, so the next is question number 10. It is the same question as you have did in your NCERT questions. So again you will be using the same thing, that a real image and a real object, if you have these two, then their positions are interchangeable. Use that concept, calculate u and calculate focal length, okay, by using lens formula. Okay, so next is question number 11. It says a convex lens of refractive index 1.5 has a focal length of 18 centimeters in air. That is, if we take mu1 to be 1.5, then your f1 is 18 centimeter. After that, the question says calculate the change in its focal length when it is immersed in water of refractive index 4 by 3. So we are taking mu2 to be refractive index of water, which is 4 by 3, and we have to calculate change in focal length. So for that, let us calculate first the focal length of the lens when it is kept in water, and let us denote it by f2. So by using lens maker's formula, for first case, as you know, 1 upon f1 will be mu1 minus 1 into 1 upon r1 minus 1 upon r2, where mu1 is your refractive index of medium of lens, or you can say it is refractive index of lens. Okay. So from here 1 upon f1 will be mu1 minus 1, and because you are given a convex lens, so therefore r1 will be r and r2 will be minus r. From that you will get 2 by r. Mark it first equation. Now for second case, again 1 upon f2 will be equal to mu of lens upon mu of medium, that is mu of water, minus 1 into again 2 by r. Mark it second equation. Now divide equation 1 and second. So you will get f2 by f1 is equals to mu1 minus 1 upon mu1 upon mu2 minus 1. So you know mu1, you know mu2, and you know f1 as well. All of these are given in question. So solve it from here. F2 will come to be 72 centimeters. So to calculate change in focal length, just subtract F2 and F1. So that will come to be 54 centimeters. So that will be the change when your convex lens is placed in in water instead of air. Question number 12 is a simple question. Just use lens maker's formula and you will get the ratio of the focal length. So now I'll be discussing question number 13. In question number 13, you are given if mu1 is the lens of is the refractive index of medium, and mu2 is the refractive index of medium. Okay, so mu1 is the refractive index of lens and mu2 is the refractive index of medium. Then you are given three different cases and you have to draw ray diagrams for the different cases. Okay, so the first case is if the refractive index of lens is equals to refractive index of medium. See, when mu1 will be equal to mu2, then let us suppose these two rays are falling on the lens. Because they have the same refractive index, therefore these rays will not suffer any deviation and they will pass straight. So this will be the ray diagram for first case. For second case, mu1 is given greater than mu2. That is, lens is the denser medium and your air is your rarer medium. So this is the normal case that we deal with. So therefore, this convex lens will behave as a converging lens and it will converge the rays at one point. Okay. For C part, you are given mu2 to be greater than mu1. That is, now the outside medium is denser and the lens medium is rarer. So again, suppose this is the parallel ray which is coming parallel to principal axis. For this surface, this will be the normal. Now this ray is going from denser to rarer, so it will bend away from normal. So it has bended away from normal. Now again this ray is going from rare to denser. Now this will be the normal for this surface. Right, so rare to denser, that means towards normal. So initial this ray was going like this, now it has bended towards normal. So as you can see, this light has been diverged by the convex lens. So both the rays will be diverged in this case. So you can say if a convex lens is placed in a medium whose refractive index is greater than the refractive index of lens, then the convex lens will start behaving as a concave lens, or you can say it will diverge the rays. In question number 14, you are given a compound microscope with an objective of 2 cm and an eyepiece of 4 cm focal length has a tube length of 40 cm. That is, F0 is given to be 2 cm, FE to be 4 cm and L to be 40 cm. So you have to calculate the magnifying power of the microscope if the final image is formed at the near point of the eye. So you know the formula of magnification, that is minus L by F0 into 1 plus D by Fe. So just use the things given in the question and calculate magnification. You will get the answer. Okay. Okay, so the next is question number 15. Question number 15 says a person uses 1.5 diopter glasses to have normal vision from 25 onwards and a 20 diopter lens as a simple microscope to see an object. So this is the power which he is using to have a normal vision, that is 25 centimeter, and this is the power of the simple microscope which he is using. Okay, so you have to calculate the maximum magnifying power when he uses the microscope together with his lenses. That is, in first case he is using the microscope lens as well as his glasses. So in that case, magnification will be 1 plus D by F2, where F2 I am denoting focal length for this power, that is 20 diopter. Because see, when he is wearing his glasses, the image will be formed at near point, that is D will be 25 and focal length will be of your microscope. So in that case, magnification will be 1 plus D by F2, that is 1 plus D is 25 when he is wearing his glasses. And F2, as I have told you in theory lectures, because we are calculating focal length in centimeters, so that will be 100 by 20. So that will give you 6. Okay. So the main thing here is when he is wearing his glasses, the image will be formed at least distance of distinct vision, that is 25. Okay. But now in second case, it is given that he sees through the microscope without using the glasses. So now when he is not wearing the glass, the only difference will be that here this value will not remain 25. So first of all, we have to calculate this value, that is, you can say we have to calculate V first. Okay. So for that, first of all, let us calculate focal length of the glass, that is the glasses which he is using. Okay. So F1 will be 100 by P1 again. From that you will get F1 to be 200 by 3 centimeters. Now we will be taking as minus 25 centimeter, because suppose the object is placed at the near point and we have to calculate V. So by using lens formula, calculate V, that will come to be minus 40 centimeters. So instead of 25, now we will be taking 40. So again, M will be equal to 1 plus 40 upon 100 by 20, that is again F2, that will come to be 9. Okay, so in both the cases, there is only one difference. When he uses his glasses, the image is formed at 25 centimeters only, but when he removes his glasses, the image will be formed at 40 centimeters. Okay, so next is question number 16. It says an astronomical telescope has a magnifying power of 10, that is m is given to you to be 10. In normal adjustment, distance between the objective and eyepiece is 20 centimeter. So L is given to be 22 centimeter in normal adjustment, and as I told you earlier also, in normal adjustment, the length of the tube is nothing but f naught plus fe. That is, you can say f naught plus fe is given to you to be 22 centimeters. So you have to calculate the focal length of objective lens. So first of all, let us use the formula of magnifying power in normal adjustment, which is minus f naught upon fe. And if we are talking about magnitude only, that will be f naught upon fe. So this is given to be 10. So that means that is magnification 10 is equals to f naught upon fe. So calculate fe from here. That will come to be 22 minus f naught. Put it here. Solve it. You will get f naught to be 20 centimeters. Okay, so the next is question number 17. So the question says the separation between the eyepiece of focal length 0.3 centimeters and the objective of focal length 0.4 meters of a microscope is 0.2 meters. That is, suppose these 2 points are objective lens and eye lens. Okay, you are given the focal length and you are given L also. Okay, this L is given to be 0.2. So further the question says the eyepiece and the objective are to interchanged such that the angular magnification of the instrument remains same. What will be the new separation between the lens? So we have to interchange these two lenses such that the initial magnification as well as final magnification remains same. So you have to calculate the new separation between them. Okay. So first of all, we will consider this case to be normal setting. That is, we will be considering that the final image is formed at infinity. So when final image is formed at infinity, you know the formula of magnification is minus v naught upon u naught into d by fe. So for this case, let us suppose that the object is lying very close to the objective lens, or sorry, focal length of objective lens. So therefore you can say u naught will be nothing but f naught. So u naught will be nearly equal to f naught. Let us suppose here the image is formed, that is, this will be v naught. So from here v naught will be nothing but L minus this fe. So v naught will be nearly equal to L minus fe. Okay, so we are supposing that the object is placed at the focal length of the objective lens and image is formed at the fe. Okay, as you have did in your diagrams also when we discussed microscope. So from here m will become minus of v naught is L minus fe upon u naught is f naught into d by fe. Okay, let it be as it is. Now let us consider L dash is the new separation when your objective lens and eye lens are interchanged. So in that case, new magnification will be minus of, instead of L we will be having L dash minus fe. So here you had fe, but now because eye lens is interchanged by objective lens, so instead of fe we will be using fo into d f naught fe, or you can say fe f naught. Okay, so now you want these two magnifications to be same. That means these two values should also be same. For them to be same, L minus fe should be equal to L dash minus f naught. So here the thing is L minus fe should be equal to L dash minus f naught. From here calculate L dash, that will come to be 0.3 meters. Okay, so this was solution of your assignment. I hope all the questions are clear. Go through them properly. Thank you.